Good afternoon, everyone. I am Barbara Lane, the president of the OLLI at BCC board. I want to call the meeting to order and welcome you to the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at Berkshire Community College's 2023 annual meeting of its membership. Let me start by outlining the sequence of events for today's meeting. First, I'll be giving the board president's report. Next, our executive director, Carol Ullman Morton, will give her report, and that will be followed by our outgoing treasurer, Len Tabbs, giving his 2023 financial report. We ask that if you have any questions or comments, that you place them in the chat. Len, Carol, and I will then address them after all three presentations. After that Q&A, I'll take a few minutes to thank our outgoing board members. Then we'll announce the board election results, and then all that'll be left to do is to adjourn our meeting. Now to my report. As you'll hear in the details presented by Carol and Len, Berkshire OLLI remains very strong. Only 10% of the 124 OLLIs nationally actually grew their membership during COVID. Berkshire OLLI was among the 10%. Another interesting statistic, prior to the pandemic, roughly 7% of our members lived beyond 50 miles from Pittsfield. Given that all our content was then shared in person, that was only to be expected. That figure grew to as high as 22% of our membership during COVID, and is still at approximately 21% as post-COVID, we've continued to offer a mix of in-person, Zoom, and hybrid classes and other content. I think it's clearly a testament to, first, the quality of our programming. Our curriculum committees and distinguished speakers and university day committees and all our amazing lecturers continue to develop and share the highest quality of content semester after semester. Those committees are chaired by Richard Maturo, Shelley Sturman, Chris Gaudet, Shireen Nash, Mary Jane Matina, Steve Tobin, John Dixon, Mal Wasserman, Hope Hagler, Ellen Quabier, and Catherine Kidd. We thank all of you and our outstanding lecturers. Second, it's a testament to our decision to continue to offer a mix of the three formats, in-person, Zoom, and hybrid. As you'll hear from Len shortly, while our endowment has been affected by the market downturn, our financial position remains strong. Obviously, many factors have contributed to the success we've enjoyed. As you've heard me say before, when the pandemic hit, our entire OLLI community came together as never before, determined to carry on, and the results speak for themselves. That said, our executive directors, first Megan Wilden and now Carol Morton, and our staff, Andy Otteson, who had just started with us when COVID hit, and now Ray Langsdale and Judith Weiner, deserve so much credit for all they've accomplished for us during these challenging times. It's been my good fortune to work with them going back to my days as membership committee chair, through my time as board vice president, and now 4 years as president. They have been the most delightful, competent, and committed group it has ever been my pleasure to work with. I thank them personally and on behalf of the entire OLLI community. This is my fourth and final year as OLLI board president. On June 26th, the OLLI board will meet, and the first order of business will be the election of our new board officers. I'll then pass the invisible gavel on to my successor. It's truly been a pleasure and a privilege to serve with my fellow hardworking board members, and I do look forward to remaining on the board as immediate past president. As this will be my last opportunity to speak to you as an annual meeting, I'd like to close with this. In my remarks at our 2019 gala in celebration of our 25 years as a lifelong learning institute, I mentioned that I think of our OLLI as a giant canvas, a communal art project. We add something here to the canvas, we scrape something off somewhere else. It's an ever-changing work of art, and most importantly, it is intentionally never completed. We never stand back and declare, that's it, that's our OLLI. It's always changing. There's always something new and fresh to add. And that's what keeps our OLLI vital and relevant to us all. All of us certainly can contribute to the canvas, and many of us do. But a relative few of us have made an outsized contribution. They're what I think of as our OLLI super volunteers, members who've made a long-term significant contribution to that ever-evolving canvas. I'd like to end by naming just a few of them. First, because they deserve the recognition, but second, because I hope that it'll inspire some of you to become our next OLLI super volunteers. Before Sandy Rubin had to step off the OLLI board several months ago, Sandy had served continually since 2007. First as board secretary, then vice president, then its president. Next, its immediate past president, and then again as secretary until late 2022. Thank you, Sandy, and I miss you, Sandy. Richard Maturo became our Literature Curriculum Committee chair in 2014 and has also been a frequent OLLI lecturer. You're about to be shocked at just how frequent. This semester, Richard's Moby Dick course is the 28th course he has taught for our OLLI. And next semester, his Melville short story course will be his 29th. I wouldn't be at all surprised to learn that Richard has been the most prolific lecturer for OLLI nationally. Richard, thank you. Arlene Breskin joined what was then BILL. For those of you who are relatively new to us, BILL was our predecessor organization before we became an OLLI. In 1996, Arlene joined and has served as our much loved special events chair for a quarter of a century. And Betsy Selkowitz served as the chair of our arts curriculum committee for many, many years. And while she's no longer its chair, Betsy remains an active committee member. Hope Hagler, our distinguished speakers chair, has produced a roster of outstanding lecturers going straight through COVID and beyond for the last 7 years. Thank you, Arlene, Betsy, and Hope. I think of Bob DeRochers as OLLI's indispensable man. Bob's membership also goes back to BILL in the 1990s, and he remains our go-to person for all statistical analyses, any audio, visual, or website issues, and the evaluation of any potential technologies we might use. Bob and board member Steve Tobin have worked diligently with great support from the BCC technology folks to get our hybrid courses up and running smoothly. Thank you, Bob. And Art Sherman and his late wife, Mona, served as presidents of the BILL board, and they both worked and campaigned tirelessly for years to meet the requirements necessary for BILL to become an affiliated OLLI back in 2007. Art has remained active in OLLI, has served as an at-large board member periodically, and also on our Tech Impact Collaborative. And of course, the Sherman family has continued to bring the annual Mona Sherman Memorial Lecture to the entire Berkshires community. Thank you, Art. Len Tabbs will be retiring as OLLI board treasurer at our June board meeting. Len has served as treasurer for approximately 8 years, in 2 of those years serving as both board president and treasurer, and I don't know how he pulled that off. During Len's term as president, he initiated our University Day, which has now morphed into University Days, and established our shared interest groups. Thank you, Len. Shelley Sturm has worn so many hats for OLLI over the years that I hope I don't forget to mention one right now. She's been on the members' art show committee, I believe, since its inception. She co-chairs our arts curriculum committee. Shelley's a past board member, is our volunteer coordinator. She's chaired one of our SIGs for a time, and she's the OLLI Leadership Academy coordinator. Shelley is also clearly OLLI's hostess with the mostest, having hosted countless OLLI events and committees at her home over the years. Shelley, thank you. I know you all join me in thanking these super volunteers, and I truly hope their commitment to our OLLI will inspire you to become more involved. Thank you. And now I'll turn it over to Carol Morton for her report to the membership. Carol.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to put up a screen here. One sec. All right. So speaking of Bob DeRosier, these are some graphs from Bob to take a little peek at our membership number over time. Starting in, this chart starts in July 2020. So you can see over the pandemic, we've continued to grow. There's, ups and downs depending on the semester and what our enrollment is for that given membership enrollment is for that given semester. But in general, you can draw a through line that we're continuing to grow. Our number as of today, I think, is 1539. And as Barbara mentioned, at the beginning of the pandemic, about 7% of our members lived more than 50 miles from Pittsfield. And just guessing, I don't know this for sure, but my guess is that probably a lot of those folks were summer, people who were here part of the year and had a home address that was not in Berkshire County or within 50 miles. But today, this bottom line is the one to look at. These are the members that are more than 50 miles. So it sort of peaked around, well, it sort of got up to around 20% in July 2021 and has continued to remain there. We kept expecting on the board that there would be a time when it would start, adjusting, that we would lose some of the remote folks that have joined in our Zoom classes and virtual programming. And luckily that has not happened. So, we're planning as wisely as we can, not taking anything for granted. But for now, that has continued to remain steady, which is great news. A few numbers to share with you. So this time last year, we had just under 1,500 members, and today we have 1,539. So we've continued to have some growth. The 21% we already talked about. Just some fun numbers related to our programming. Since last year's summer one semester, we've had 1,758 people register for courses. We've held 65 author talks, special events, open houses, distinguished speaker lectures over the last year, and just under 10,000 people have attended them. And of those 10,000 people, about 60% are members and 40% are from the larger community. And then we also continue to have great interest in our special interest groups. We have about 20 that are active today. And so if you haven't joined in one, maybe today's the day to take a little peek on the website and see what might be interesting to you. So the board has spent a lot of time before I arrived last year, working on a strategic plan. We finalized it over the summer and it was approved in the fall. It's a plan that goes through June 2024. And I'm just going to share with you today some very high level information about that because there's no reason that you would know about it yet. And I think you might be interested because it's going to be guiding a lot of the programming and work we do in the next 2 years. So first top level objective, provide expanded high quality educational programming on a variety of platforms to a diverse membership. And I'm just going to give you a couple of examples for each one. Don't worry, this isn't going to be like a slog through through the whole strategic plan. So to this end, some examples of things that we've begun in this fiscal year. We now have a curriculum council chair who is Kate Kidd, and we are so grateful for her work. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. We're also building a new curriculum committee, which we're for now calling active living for those courses. So that's things that are slightly outside the quote unquote traditional curriculum committee's purview. So, you know, cooking classes, and I don't know, now I'm going to have a draw blank and I'm not going to think of good examples. Oh, there was a Tai Chi class that was supposed to run for this spring, you know, things like that, that in the past might have gotten lumped in with social science or something, but we're giving some more energy and focus on those courses because we've experienced that there's a great demand for them. And then also just generally expanded curriculum, expanded offerings across the curriculum. We've allocated time and energy for instructor growth and support, which includes additional training for instructors and volunteers. That's just a sampling. The next objective is to grow, service, and retain our members. So some of the things we're doing in this area, we have a new marketing committee with an expanded role. We have new work on retention happening with the member services committee, especially in the sort of new normal, the quote unquote post-COVID landscape. They're figuring out exactly what's going to be next for different membership activities and what's possible for the future, which is great. Enhance OLLI's relationship with external institutions in the Berkshires and across the region. So I think this objective is really exemplified in the work that the University Days Committee did in the last year, which included partnerships and programming with a ton of different local partner organizations, seeking and receiving grants from towns across the region and programming across the area with outreach to many constituencies outside of our OLLI membership and also our members. We've also expanded programming in partnership with many other organizations across the region, including One Berkshire and the BIC, and some joint classes that were held together with local nonprofits and lots more. This is an area where, you know, there's infinite things we could do, and we're figuring out what makes sense to do next. And really, it's the volunteers who are leading this work. Next is explore opportunities for collaboration with other OLLIs and other lifelong learning institutes. So some examples here, we had a great program with the OLLI at the University of Richmond in the fall, the Julius Rosenwald program, which had, I should have looked up the number, but I think it ended up being well over 1,000 people registered for that program from all over the country, which was great. And then we also have an online collaboration with regional LLIs, not just OLLIs, but other lifelong learning institutes on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and collaboration, which has been ongoing for a while, but we have some new exciting programming and things that will be rolling out there. Deepen and solidify our long-term relationship with Berkshire Community College and other academic partners. So in the last year, one of my biggest tasks has been to build connections with the staff and faculty at the college. There's a lot of other new staff on campus, and so we've been building and deepening connections that, you know, building new stuff, deepening what already exists. I made a hearts and minds tour to all the academic departments to meet with faculty and staff, and we've worked on infrastructure and updating processes and tools with the business office, including things like reporting, fun things like insurance and liability concerns. We've worked on communications projects with the alumni office, built partnerships with the new staff and development, And then, of course, we have our ongoing work with student affairs, especially in mentoring. We've made new agreements and identified opportunities with Williams and Simons Rock, our academic partners, including opportunities for programming that are in development and then clarity about availability of space. And we have a similar meeting with MCLA in the hopper. We expect that that will be buttoned up shortly. Maintain a strong financial footing. We have new protocols for tracking and reporting on spending internally. And thank you to Len Tabbs for years of service as OLLI treasurer and the development committee for their work on the annual appeal and planned giving. I know, speaking of Sandy Rubin, I think that she probably did a little jig when we got that planned giving brochure out the door. I know that it was years in the making. And then infrastructure and organization. So work in this area includes expanded programming for leadership development, new work in reporting and data. That's my happy place. And evaluating our staffing levels, given how much our program has grown, both in the scope of our programming and the number of members that we have. So for this year, we added some very part-time help. We have a staff member named Karen Norton, who is helping us out 2 hours a week, 2 very valuable hours a week on data entry. And we also have some part-time help with phone coverage, which is great. And we have a new event planning guide for our volunteers to help streamline and support new programming and hopefully to help clear up confusion around processes and procedures. And when we get to Q&A, if you have questions in particular about any part of this, I'm glad to go over it. I just wanted to sort of give you a quick highlight of what we've been working on. And then a little bit of more information about things that happened this year. So in the area of community engagement, I mentioned University Days. For University Days, we had over 1,000 registrants. There were 18 programs, 2 art shows, grants from 13 cultural councils and Mass Humanities. It was a huge undertaking by a great group of committed volunteers, and it really got us out into the community in a way that was exciting. And then similarly, but in a different area, the Tech Impact Collaborative Group, they put on a 6-session series this past fall, and they have ongoing collaboration with the BIC and One Berkshire that are, I think, going to be paying, out great dividends in the next year and beyond as we help them with some programming related to grant work that they are doing, which is exciting. And then also the OLLI Art Show was up for a month at the Berkshire Museum. Anybody who was going to the museum got to engage with the work of our OLLI artists for a whole month at that museum in town. And then at the museum last summer, there were a number of distinguished speakers series programs that were there that brought in the general public and connected OLLI with the community. And just as a tag, it probably blends into the wallpaper, but in every distinguished speaker series invitation at the bottom, it says in collaboration or in partnership with the Berkshire Museum. And so we're always offering a discount to Berkshire Museum members in addition to our OLLI members for those programs, which is a great community connector, I think. On the curriculum, so thanks to Kate Kidd and our amazing curriculum committees, we have a new pipeline of future instructors that's really exciting. That's been expanded greatly just in the last month when so many people responded to Kate's call for folks who might be interested in teaching in the active living area. So thank you for that. And the founding of that committee is in process. And we successfully piloted some workshops, which you may have noticed, in between semesters. And just a couple of notes about those, because it was kind of exciting. Some of those sold out within 12 hours. Clearly there's a demand, and 24% of the people who came to them were from outside of New England. And about 50-50 of the attendees were members and non-members, with a number of folks becoming members after attending those workshops. So we're going to be working on the scope of what we want to do and what we're able to handle in this area, what time of year we want to hold them, what the right number are, all of that kind of thing. If you have thoughts about this, I'm glad to hear them. But I think, we've just sort of noticed generally that people are making decisions about what they're going to do closer to the time than ever before, as we're looking at, actually, I should click the button, at the new normal. And they're also, it seems, looking for short-term stuff. Like, I know that I can come to this program that meets for 2 sessions. I don't know if I can come to this program that meets for 6, right? So we're trying, it's not an either or, it's a both and we're looking at what's possible there. Whoops, oops, 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 oops. Also related to the new normal, we're now expanding back into South County in terms of in-person offerings at a number of different locations. We're getting better at our hybrid or high flex course management and increasing the number of hybrid courses that we can offer. And we're working on finding that balance between the types of courses that are the number and types of courses offered in person and online, hoping for roughly 50-50. Recognizing that we are volunteer dependent for all of our instructors. And so a lot of it's going to depend on what they're comfortable with and what works best for them. And then I wanted to offer some thank yous. So thank you to all of our outgoing board members and to the incoming board members who've agreed to take on these new tasks and challenges. Thank you to everyone who said yes this year and offered your time and talents as instructors, committee members and leaders, Zoom helpers, SIG leaders, the folks driving catalogs around the country, the people who make our programs happen, including our special events committee, Tech Impact Collaborative, Distinguished Speaker Series, Curriculum Committee chairs, Art Exhibition Committee, University Days, Development Committee, Diversity Committee, the Marketing Team, Member Services, Mentoring, the Performing Art Initiative, Technology Committee, the board and all of its committees. It's a lot of folks who make this whole program happen. And I want to thank you all for welcoming me to be your new executive director in the last year. And I want to thank all of you who've showed up for classes and events and are helping this community to thrive. Thank you. I also want to thank our staff, Judith Weiner and Ray Langsdale, who held down the fort when there was no ED last spring and who are excellent at their jobs, ready to learn more and a huge asset to this organization. Thank you to Karen Norton, who I mentioned before, who works behind the scenes on data entry. And we're about to hire another person to help out with phones, and they will be starting in the next couple of weeks, I hope, and we'll let you know who they are once that's all buttoned up. We are very grateful for all of their assistance. Thank you to Kate Kidd for stepping into the new role of Curriculum Council Chair, which is going to make meeting our strategic plan goals around curriculum possible. We are so grateful for your help. I want to offer a special thanks to Barbara Lane, our outgoing board chair, for her excellent leadership in an incredibly challenging time. This OLLI, with her leadership and the work of our volunteers and staff, took the challenge of a global pandemic and turned it into an opportunity for growth. You should be very proud of the work you did together. Thank you, Barbara, for your expertise and leadership, and it was a pleasure to work with you this past year. Now, I wouldn't be me if I didn't also plug some programs that are coming up, so I'm just going to wrap up with that. So, as you know, the Mona Sherman Memorial Lecture is coming up on Saturday, May 27th. I'm just going to take this moment. If you have reserved a ticket through OLLI, it will come to you through the Mahawi. Just saying that one more time. Great. Speaking of workshops, Anna Mehta is doing this really cool workshop on Monday, June 5th, and there's still room if you would like to come. It's on Zoom, so it's a chance for you to learn some dance at your own pace at home with your camera off if you choose. And she's also going to be lecturing and talking about the different styles, so that as you, with an eye toward doing this before the season, so if you're a Jacob's Pillow person, perhaps when you go to the shows this summer, you might have a little more insight into what you're seeing. So that should be a really cool workshop, and I encourage you to sign up. Also, we are so excited about this. Dr. John C. Mather, who is the senior astrophysicist and senior project scientist for the James Webb Telescope, is coming to talk to us on Wednesday, June 21st at 7 p.m. It's going to be an amazing program. Please sign up. It's I think the invite is coming out to you this week by email, but it's live. You can go sign up anytime. And then an OLLI favorite, Jeremy Yudkin, is coming to speak about the greatest classical string quartets. That's going to be in person only at the Lenox Town Hall, a venue we haven't used in recent history. So maybe some of you have done things there. We're looking forward to it. It should be a great show or a great event, and helpful again for folks who are here for the summer doing music activities. And then we have our OLLI at BCC special event committees. The Jacob's Pillow event is sold out, but there's still room in the Amherst Duet trip, going to the Emily Dickinson Museum and the Benesky Museum of Natural History. Oh, it says National History. We got to fix that. And that, which is near and dear to my heart from my time at Amherst College. That's going to be a really fun trip. And then also a Chester Duet You can go hang out at the Chester Railways Museum and have a delicious lunch, and then go to a great show, Circle Mirror Transformation at the Chester Theater. And then finally, last but not least, a save the date. So this isn't up yet because we don't know how many seats we're going to have yet. But Edwin Barker, who is the principal bassist for the BSO, is leading a class for us in June. I encourage you to sign up. But if you can't come to the whole class and you just want to come to the recital, which is the last day of class, you can sign up just to come to that. The recital will be at Lennox Memorial and Middle High School. We're going to charge $10 for OLLI members and $15 for the general public. So if you have a friend you want to bring with you or whatever, that's great. And so we'll put that up as soon as the summer one session starts, because then we'll know how many seats we have available in the lecture hall. It should be an amazing performance, and it's a great opportunity to hang out with somebody from the BSO and ask them questions and hear them play. So I think that's it. That's my story. Again, if you have questions, put them in the chat and we'll get there. And I'm going to turn it over now to Len. Let me just make you the big face here. There you go, Lenny.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like you to turn your focus to the income statement. Course income and membership dues are the main revenue drivers. They're all nearly 90% of our total revenue. For clarity's sake, we don't show the budget or last year on the slide. It'd be too confusing. The 10-month number of 103,665 is on a path to meet and even surpass our annual budget of $125,000. We still have the summer one semester to go, and I'm confident that course income from that will make our goal. The 10-month membership dues number of over $71,000 is on track to exceed our budget of $75,000. The net revenue from special events, distinguished speakers, and university days will also exceed our budget by the time we finish our fiscal year in June, at June 30. We continue to operate in a mostly Zoom environment within class as well as hybrid classes. Our success in meeting our revenue goals and our membership goals is a direct result of us keeping that mix and even to try to do better to attract more population. Contributions to OLLI for the 10 months, including the annual appeal, produced $24,078, as well as there were grants in excess of $6,000 for the University Day program. Our endowment had a return of 6.7% for the 10-month period, and it remains a mix of 64% stock and 35% fixed income and a 1% cash portfolio mix. On the expense side, we continue to operate with a lower print cost profile because of the Zoom environment. That is, no catalogs compared to the prior years. We have kept up and even allocated more budget dollars to advertising to protect and grow our franchise. The total expense number of nearly $160,000 is flat with last year and in line with our budget. We should not expect any surprises here. We manage expenses very well. Net for the 10-month period, we had a net operating income of a tad above $35,000. I expect this number to be in the $25,000 to $30,000 range when our fiscal year ends on June 30. To recap the income statement, we operated for a third year in a Zoom environment with a push to experiment with in-person and hybrid classes. We increased office staff to keep up with the demands of the operation. We will meet and probably exceed our revenue expectations, and we held fast to our expense budget. On the balance sheet side, can we go to the next slide? Okay, there you go. Thank you. On the balance sheet side, we have $94,000 in free cash in the bank and $196,505 in restricted cash. $186,000 is the result of a bequeathment to finance our performing arts programs, and the balance is for the University Days programs. The due from college number of $123,000 represents prior year surpluses as well as this year's 35,000 surplus mentioned earlier. The endowment fund at April 30 had $2,286,690. We have $22,000 left to finish out this year's compensation to our ED as per the Osher Foundation agreements. To recap my presentation, I will say again what I said at last year's annual meeting. Your OLLI at BCC chapter is in the strongest financial position it has ever been. Our cash balances, as well as the IOU of the college, will allow us to continue our mission of learning and to explore new ways to maintain and grow membership. This concludes my remarks. I'll be happy to answer any questions in the chat. Thank you very much. I'll now turn it back to Barbara.
Thank you, Len. And now it's time for our Q&A session. So I'm going to turn it back over to Carol so she can read any questions or comments that we've received.
Sure. So I'm just going to read what I put in the chat for Naomi in case anybody's not able to see their chat. So Naomi Spatz kindly reminded me that we have the OLLI theater parties coming up soon, and so there's an email that will tell you what the dates and everything are, and how to get tickets from the different places and how to get discounted tickets. That is scheduled to go out tomorrow morning. So please please take a look. It should be great. And I'm going to add these other spotlights here. Len, there's a question for you. What's the money due from BCC?
Okay, it's from Louise Frankenberg. To go back again, with the college, they take all our money and they pay all our bills. And so what's left over, if we gave them more money than they paid out, we have what's called a surplus. In the big Zoom year of 2020, which ended in June 2020, when our membership went nuts, we had a net profit of $85,000. It's not cash in our bank. It's the college owes us the money. OLLI is treated no different than a chemistry department or a nursing program. You either have a surplus or it's running at a deficit. In our case, there's a surplus. So in June 2021, the big COVID year, we had an $85,000 surplus. The next year, June 2022, we had about $1,750 surplus. You add that $87,000 onto what I showed you as a 10-month surplus number now, that adds up to the 123. So I hope I haven't confused you any, Louise. The issue is simply the way the college bookkeeps and the way the Osher chapters work. It's really another division within the college. If we were running short or running deficit, then we could have a call on that money. Do you tell us how much we pay BCC? Did you tell us? When you say pay BCC, I'm going to presume you mean what are you talking about, a fee? There are no fees, and BCC doesn't charge us a fee. They provide accounting services. We provide mentoring services. There's a host of exchange services. And Dr. Kennedy says, and the funds are restricted for OLLI's use. That goes back to what I said. We are a department within OLLI. What Dr. Kennedy's trying to say to you, we have a call on that IOU should we need it. It is excess funds invested on our part, but within the college, not on our balance sheet beyond this receivable. If you want a private lesson, Louise, I'd be happy to speak to you privately. I don't want to take too much time because you'll think I'm crazy.
Okay, thanks, Lenny. Ellen also mentioned, Ellen Kennedy, Dr. Kennedy, said, thank you to the fabulous leadership and committed and innovative volunteers of OLLI at Berkshire Community College. So thank you to everybody. Lisa Swigert, I think. I'm sorry, I can only see part of your name because of where my computer is. Would you be able to share information of the instructor trainings, please? Sure. So what we're working on is sort of a multi-pronged approach to training. So we have some like orientation kinds of things that just launched for our summer 1 instructors that are designed to sort of talk about what it's like to teach at OLLI. And then, you know, and there's some sort of nuts and bolts stuff there, especially for people who haven't taught with us before. And then also some pedagogical offerings for people to think about. And then we're also developing some more long-term stuff that has been done in the past, but it's been a little while because of COVID and everything, about for people who are developing courses and need like a more, you know, a longer, more workshop style kind of program to be helpful. And then we also have some technical training that we're offering about every 6 months for OLLI instructors, and then also just sort of generally volunteers and SIG leaders who, you know, might need some help with how to share a screen on Zoom. What are some different tools for communicating with their class? You know, different sort of very nuts and bolts stuff. Then those are facilitated by the staff. That's what I'm thinking of right now. And Kate and all the curriculum council at large will be sharing out information as we go along about different offerings. So we're really excited. This is a definite area of growth for us in terms of what's possible. Oh, Naomi says the plays, they're Photograph 51, Faith Healer, and Fences, so that you can plan. Oh, and Kate also mentioned also Padlet training. So some of you may have been in classes where we're using Padlet, which is basically like a website that you can use like stickies on a bulletin board for sharing materials back and forth in class. Any other questions? Did I miss anything here? Anything else? Maybe it's going to be a freebie for us here.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Carol and Len, for your answers, and thank you all for your questions. Before I take a few minutes to thank our outgoing board members, I just want to say how proud I am of the work our full board has completed over the last 4 years. In addition to dealing with the significant challenges imposed by the pandemic, we've completed a major revision to our bylaws that began during Peter Blum's time as board president. We formulated the most comprehensive 3-year strategic plan we've had to date, with an especial thanks to our Vice President, Gordon Josephson, for leading that effort. We've dealt with significant staff changes and created our first organizational policies and procedures manual. Our board has also adopted a diversity statement and formed a diversity committee, because we understand that working toward a membership that more closely mirrors the population at large and creating content reflective of multiple voices enriches the OLLI experience for all of us. Every member of our board, in addition to their board responsibilities, wears another hat for OLLI. They serve as board officers, chair or co-chair committees, coordinate SIGs, and mentor BCC students. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to work with all of them. Now to my outgoing board members, I'd like to say the following. Thank you, Peter Blum, for serving as board president during a time of significant organizational growth, and then serving as immediate past president for the last 4 years. Peter, I've decided to take you as my model to emulate as immediate past president. You've always made yourself available, but have never once in 4 years offered me any unsolicited advice. I'm sure that has required no small amount of self-control on your part, and I am very grateful. Thank you, Len Tabbs, for your many years as our treasurer and for 2 years of concurrent service as board president. Len, your reporting has kept us laser focused on our budget and financial goals, and you've consistently brought levity to our board meetings. A thank you to outgoing member John Dixon, who was so quick to step in to become co-chair of our Social Science Curriculum Committee when Ginny O'Leary had to step down. Ginny, if you're here with us today, we miss you and we hope you're doing well. Another thank you to Bob Braddock, who more than filled the big shoes left by Carol Siegel and Claudia Schuster when they stepped away from co-chairing our Mentorship for Success Steering Committee. Bob, you've done an outstanding job during an especially challenging time for BC students and for our program, even expanding it to include a career coaching component, and left it in great hands with Erin McNamara and Nina Keneally as the committee's new co-chairs. And a thank you to Ellen Quabier, who's ending her tenure as OLLI board member, but remaining as co-chair of our Member Services Committee, along with board member Colleen Rossi. Ellen will also continue to lead our contemporary gender role SIG and will continue to co-chair our University Days Committee with Kate Kidd. Thank you, my friend, for all you've done and continue to do for our OLLI. And now a quick thank you to someone who is not stepping off the OLLI board, and that is BCC President, Dr. Ellen Kennedy. Ellen, thank you so much for your support during my tenure as OLLI board president. You do remain our best friend and biggest supporter, so thank you. Now I'm about to turn it back over to Carol to announce the results of our board elections. But just to recap, Hank Gold, Ellie Katzman, Nina Keneally, and Jeff Mann are running for a first 2-year term on the OLLI board, and Mal Wasserman is running for her second 2-year term. There was also a vote to approve some minor changes to the bylaws. So Carol, I feel like this is the Academy Awards. Would you now give us the results, please?
Sure. So everything passed with flying colors, which probably is not a huge shock, but great news. And thank you all for everybody who voted today when we sent out the call saying we need folks for a quorum. So thank you. And we're grateful.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that, Carol. Okay, well then, thank you, everyone. There being no further business before the membership, this meeting stands adjourned. Take care, have a wonderful summer, and I'm going to look forward to seeing everyone in class. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.